Welcome to a Sunday morning service at San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Georgetown, Texas. I am Reverend Sandra Ingham, interim minister here at San Gabriel. You might be watching this anytime, not necessarily on Sunday morning, the 21st of June. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever time you tune in, you are most welcome at this fellowship. It is a green sanctuary and a welcoming congregation. If you want to learn more about Unitarian Universalism in general, visit uua.org. To find out more about this congregation in particular, go to sangabrieluu.org. You will find our newsletter, The Messenger, there on the website. Members and friends are gently reminded to read that newsletter weekly. Sunday, June 21st is this congregation's annual meeting. A link to attending that Zoom meeting can be found on the website. Anyone is welcome at an annual meeting. However, only members of the congregation can vote. The Unitarian Universalist Association's annual meeting, General Assembly, was scheduled to be held in Providence, Rhode Island this year from June 24th to the 28th. Well, GA is still happening, but virtually this year. While that is not the same as having our annual meeting live, an online meeting is less expensive and more easily accessible, thus making this a unique opportunity to experience General Assembly, whether you have never been there or are a veteran GA goer. There is no registration deadline. Cost is $150 for the entire 5 days, and we do have some scholarship money available. If you would like to talk about that, you can contact me or Mary Abbey, our board president. Next Sunday's service will be held at General Assembly. Well, not literally, of course, but all Unitarian Universalists throughout the world, believe it or not, are invited and encouraged to attend the Sunday morning worship service held each year at General Assembly. Details should be coming soon in our newsletter and on our website. And I believe that the time to watch for those of us in the Central Time Zone will be 10 a.m. next Sunday, June 28th. The Chalice lighting words are titled Audacious Hope, and they were written by Rebecca Savage. We light our flaming chalice as a beloved people, united in love and thirsting for restorative justice. May it burn away the tethers that uphold white supremacy in our midst. May it spark in us a spirit of humility. May it ignite in us radical love that transforms our energy into purposeful action. This is a chalice of audacious hope. This chalice shines a light on our shared past, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and move boldly toward our highest ideals. You are invited now to sing the opening hymn, All Are Architects. The opening words were written by Stephen Kendrick. We are here to face the truth about ourselves, about this faith we love, and the ways it presently serves others and the world, as well as to open ourselves to ways it can be better, and ways not only can better and more joyfully reflect our potential and our core values. We want to know the ways that we are bound to one another, as well as to larger religious movements normally beyond our sight and vision. We say we are open and diverse, yet it is too easy to feel stuck in old paths and stubborn habits, reflecting not so much tradition as our comfort. We want to answer the call to service, to a world that needs our message, our hope, our revived energy. We are gathered to learn, to unlearn, to hear, and to move forward. Amen. Please sing or speak the words of the affirmation, whichever you are most comfortable doing.
The doctrine of this church is love, the quest of truth and sacrament, and services its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and serve humanity in fellowship. Peace, freedom, and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant, thus do we covenant with each other, with each
Because we hope to give you time to take a break on this busy Sunday morning, should you be watching this on Sunday morning, there will not be a Wonderbox and Story moment right now, nor will there be a musical interlude, because we are asking you to continue to look at a screen during not only the Joys and Concerns time together, but also following that during this congregation's annual meeting. I invite you now to take a few moments to center yourselves in silence and breathing. The reading that I would like to share with you today was written by Unitarian Universalist minister Dan Hotchkiss, and he titles this "The Paradox of Organized Religion." Religion at its best is no friend of the status quo. Religion transforms people. No one touches holy ground and stays the same. Religious leaders stir the pot by pointing to the contrast between life as it is and life as it should be, and urging us to close the gap. Religious insights provide the handhold that people need to criticize injustice, rise above self-interest, and take risks to provide healing to a wounded world. Organization, on the other hand, conserves. Institutions capture, schematize, and codify persistent patterns of activity. People sometimes say institutions are conservative, and they smile as if they had said something clever. But conservation is what institutions do. A well-ordered congregation lays down schedules, puts policies on paper, places people in positions, and generally brings order out of chaos. Organizations can be flexible, creative, and iconoclastic, but only by resisting some of their most basic instincts. No wonder organized religion is so difficult. Congregations create sanctuaries where people can nurture and inspire each other with results no one can predict. The stability of a religious institution is necessary for the instability that religious transformation brings. The need to balance both sides of this paradox, the transforming power of religion and the stabilizing power of organization, makes leading congregations a unique challenge. What words could be more appropriate on the day of this congregation's annual meeting than those? The need to balance both sides of a paradox, the transforming power of religion on the one side and the stabilizing power of organization on the other, makes leading congregations a unique challenge. As always, I am using the words religion and religious to mean that which is most important in life, ground of all being, spirit of love, humanity's reaction to, struggle with, response to the knowledge that we are mortal beings. Do you see the connection between those words by Dan Hotchkiss and the chalice lighting words by Rebecca Savage that I used earlier? We light our flaming chalice as a beloved people, united in love and thirsting for restorative justice. May it burn away the tethers that uphold white supremacy in our midst. May it spark in us a spirit of humility. May it ignite in us radical love that transforms our energy into purposeful action. This is a chalice of audacious hope. This chalice shines a light on our shared past, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and move boldly toward our highest ideals. And listen again to these words from the opening reading by Stephen Kendrick. We are here to face the truth about ourselves, about this faith we love, and the ways it presently serves others and the world. We want to answer the call to service to a world that needs our message, our hope, our revived energy. We are gathered to learn, to unlearn, to hear, and to move forward. Annual meetings are when the business of an organization is done. That is, when time is intentionally set aside to take care of the workings, the structure of the institution. This is crucial work to the running of any effective, efficient organization, though some people find it boring, uninteresting work. Not so. The concerns of the wider world are not necessarily addressed at an annual meeting, but that depends on what the organization's purpose is. Still, the fact that right now Our world is in flames, falling apart, struggling to emerge with different rules and systems. The fact is there, underlying everything, and cannot really be ignored. But we won't be much use to the wider world. We people of faith, we people who still believe in organized religion, if our own house is not in order. And if our own house is to be in order, then we must have structure. We must have a budget. We must have policies and procedures written down. We must have a covenant with each other. Otherwise, we just waste a lot of time and energy bickering, assuming, wanting to be right, wanting to be in control, putting our own concerns first instead of the welfare of others, both within and without the church. If our own house is to be in order, then we must understand what leadership means. We must go even deeper than that in our exploration of leadership. We must understand that in this kind of an organization, a church, a nonprofit, a professed, caring, compassionate community, we are all asked to be leaders, to demonstrate and model good leadership. Not just asked, but this is demanded of us, whether we hold a named position of leadership or not. In any given fiscal year, we must all act like leaders. To get this house in order and to sustain a high level of order and organization, you have to be clear. You people in this congregation, you have to be clear about why you are here as a faith community. A question that I've asked you repeatedly since my arrival at the fellowship almost 9 months ago. What is your mission? What is your vision? If indeed it is, as I hope, to help heal a wounded, tragically flawed world, how can having a strong infrastructure aid you in doing that work of the world? You can have more than one reason for your existence, of course. In fact, you should, and you will have more than one reason to sustain this special place, such as being a progressive beacon of light in a corner of the world that has plenty of voices on the other side of that spectrum, or being strong enough internally within yourselves and within this community that you create a safe space for those among us who are frightened, weary, oppressed, misunderstood. In other words, a safe and comforting space for all of us. In order to answer the mission, vision question, you all have to be leaders, meaning we all have to stop thinking in terms of me. It's not about me. It's not about you. It is about them. All the people who are hurting in the world. All the people who are judged by the most absurd standards or so-called values. Color of skin, color of hair, yes, even that one. Sexual orientation, gender identification, beliefs and non-beliefs, ethnicity, country of origin, and on and on and on it goes. In order to answer the mission, vision question and to fulfill the paradox of organized religion, how to be active in the larger world while at the same time be organized in this smaller world, our base, our church, our fellowship. Everyone has to practice leadership skills, and everyone has to be united in vision. I want to repeat that first paragraph from Hotchkiss. Religion at its best is no friend of the status quo. Religion transforms people. No one touches holy ground and stays the same. Religious leaders stir the pot by pointing to the contrast between life as it is and life as it should be and urging us to close the gap. Religious insights provide the handhold that people need to criticize injustice, rise above self-interest, and take risks to provide healing to a wounded world. In order for our religion to transform us, we need to try to keep in the front of our minds what right relationship means. I know that during the last couple of weeks, I have been guilty of making wrong assumptions, treating others unkindly, flying off the handle, overreacting to minor incidents, failing to take the time needed to talk to those I was treating badly so that I could begin to understand where they're coming from. I am not the only one who is guilty of these behaviors. To be fair to all of you, as well as to myself, we are all under heavy loads at this moment in history. So much stress. I am betting that these times are causing us more anxiety than many, or if not most of us, have experienced in our lifetimes. To maintain right relationship with each other, to keep our covenants with each other, to build trust, I call all of us, all of you, into leadership, into the practice of true leadership. True leadership means that we try to treat each other kindly, even when we're not feeling kindly towards someone. Avoid flying off that handle and overreacting. Take time to talk to each other and work harder to understand and learn more about each other's motivations and actions. And we begin by remembering why we are here, why we want to be a part of the San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship and of the larger Unitarian Universalist Association. I believe that the most important thing we should be doing right now is working to dismantle the systems that are based on and have thrived upon racial inequality. To do that work, this base from which we operate must be a strong, well-organized, smoothly running base. The organization must be strong in its roots, at its foundation. You are not there yet. We have a lot of work to do. We next consider not only the word leadership and what it entails, but also the word ministry. I want us to use those two words, ministry and leadership, interchangeably in the sentences that I am about to say. And I want you to try to remember what one of you said during Joys and Concerns time a few weeks ago. Ministry of the church. It was used in the middle of a sentence about what we are doing. Seemingly an innocuous few words. Ministry of the church. Okay, fine. But those few words are loaded with meaning, as in, ministry of the church is done by all of you, not just by me. You all have the opportunity to be ministers to each other. So in no particular order, here's what I know about leadership. Leadership is not about you. Leadership is not about me. Leadership is about them, all of those people outside of our little personal circles, them, and how to bring them fully into the circle of humanity without removing anybody who's already in there. Think about that. How to move from the concept of them and they to the concept of us. Leadership is about sympathy, empathy, kindness, compassion, powerful love, mercy, justice. Leadership is about constantly remembering that everyone making the journey between life and death stumbles, bumbles, falls, struggles to get up, makes stupid mistakes. Everyone, no matter the color of their skin, everyone does this. Leaders need to be slow to react to both real and perceived threats to their leadership. Leaders need to remain calm in the midst of adversity. In ministry, that is known as striving to be a non-anxious presence. And believe me, it is difficult. I strive every day, often unsuccessfully. Leadership means not taking things personally. Leadership means taking deep breaths and waiting before you respond. The goal here is to not react out of anger or fear or hurt. The goal is to wait until we can thoughtfully respond, not react without forethought. Leadership means that we have a deep respect for each other. So now let's have a Sesame Street moment. Think of the letter T as in trouble, but not that word. The letter T. When you are wondering whether or not you are acting like a leader. The T words to keep in mind are, some of them, truth. I mean speaking truth to power, but I also mean speaking truth directly to those who may have inadvertently hurt you or whom you don't trust. Let others know your concerns directly, one-on-one with them or one-on-two, but not through someone else or a third party. Trust. Cultivate it. Repair it when it is broken. Triangulation. Learn what it is so that you will recognize its presence. Avoid it. Always. That will be impossible, actually. So be prepared to apologize for it when you have done it and to get up and try again. Transformation. Transformation is where trust and truth and avoidance of triangulation will take us, transforming us into better citizens of our congregation, our country, our world. And one more, T word, together. Together. I don't think that word needs much elaboration. We can't resist evil, solve systemic problems, get through a pandemic and a worldwide economic collapse, dismantle racism and white privilege alone, in a vacuum. These battles have to be fought together. We are all in this together. A much overused phrase these days, but nevertheless a true statement. We are asked to be leaders, to question our motives for our actions, to try to understand our shortcomings, our weaknesses, and our blind spots. In order to get out of our own way and to be of use to the world, we have to do this work. This very basic work. It's a spiritual discipline. We have to get out of our own way. Stop wasting time, energy, resources on interpersonal clashes. And direct the time, energy, resources into serving the greater good of both this congregation and of the world. If we all cultivate leadership skills, we will become a united body, able to use that unity to keep it on. And, as we keep saying, to not only survive all of these crises, but to thrive during them. There is no more important work in the world right now than the work of systemic change. Anti-racist work and global warming work will, in the long run, be ineffective if there are no changes in the systems that have allowed white supremacy and white privilege to flourish since this country's beginnings. We people of faith will not be part of this most important work of the world unless and until we have our own house in order. And we will not have our own house in order unless we cultivate leadership skills that are the first steps on the road to right relationship, to building trust, and to maintaining covenants. May we not lose sight of these words, written by Edward Schempp. Unitarian Universalism is faith in people, hope for tomorrow's child, confidence in a continuity that spans all time. It looks not to a perfect heaven, but toward a good earth. It is respectful of the past, but not limited to it. It is trust in growing and conspiracy with change. Conspiracy with change. It is spiritual responsibility for a moral tomorrow. We in this congregation can respond to the world forcefully, but we must be united in this response. We must be clear about our mission and our vision. We can learn how to lead and cultivate leadership skills if we proceed with kindness and gentleness, remembering that we Unitarian Universalists believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Oh, that's our first principle. Imagine that. But we also believe in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. I hope that sounds familiar. That's our second principle. We have already done a lot of the necessary groundwork. Wake now, my senses, and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share, work toward a planet transformed by our care. Sing that now. It is our closing hymn. All verses, if you want to. Wait now, my senses. The words for extinguishing the chalice were written by Martha Kirby Capo. Our time together is finished, but our work is not done. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the week to come. This chalice flame is extinguished until we ignite it again with the spark of our communion. The closing words were written by Unitarian Universalist minister Manish Mishra Marzetti. He titled it Fearing Fear. Oh, he did not title it that. Facing Fear, Trusting Love. Manish writes this: every day, as leaders within a spiritual community, we must realize that our actions and inactions affect dozens, if not hundreds, of lives. How do we prioritize the list of pressing needs? What do we have time to get to today? What will have to wait yet another day before the needed time emerges? Will those decisions mean that someone who needs care and support might not receive it today? Will we meet our fundraising and budgetary goals or fall short? Will someone leave our Sunday service feeling less welcome than they should? Will we have enough volunteers for our religious education classes and for our committees? The possibility of failure abounds. We are engaged in a fallible human enterprise, but it is one that simultaneously transcends our finitude. Amid the uncertainty, amid the risk of failure, can we remember why we stepped forward? To make a difference in someone's life, to help build and create healthy community, to share our gifts and talents with the world around us, to be the best we can be and bring out the best in others. Grounded in these intentions, it's never possible to fail. The world needs every bit of good that each of us has to offer. Do what you can. Trust that gifts offered in love will be received in the spirit of love. Trust that what we are contributing to is far greater than any one of us. Trust that even when we fall short, the good that we are able to do matters greatly. Amen. May it be so. Peace be with you. Stay safe.